I scoured the internet and found what you had to say. And now, I shall expose you. Hello, beautiful people. I'm the Luschmaster. Welcome to my channel. Oh yeah, of course. Subscribe. This is everything you had to say about Dwight K. Schrute from The Office. A king amongst mere mortals. Dwight is the best. I always go between Michael, Dwight, and Kelly as my favorites. Dwight, the alpha dog. Dwight K. Schrute is the greatest character in television history. Maybe the greatest US sitcom character of all time. From the moment he appeared on screen, he was roll on the floor funny. I like Dwight's growth. He began as someone absurd and hilarious and sort of an incapable nerd. He grew to become a genius with schemes, programs, and creations, and became capable whilst remaining absurdly hilarious. Dwight's loyalty is insane. Michael asks for duct tape and knives, and he obeys his order, no questions asked. The reason Dwight is so awesome is because he has the strength of a grown man and a little baby. Dwight was the best character on the show. He literally runs the whole show. Nobody can replace him in my heart. Best character ever. Best written character in the entire series, and nobody could have done such a great job at portraying him as Rainn Wilson, my favorite character of the show. Saying I love Dwight is an understatement. I love Dwight's character and personality. Rainn did a good job at being a douche, LOL. Dwight Schrute is the cutest person, and the side glance he gives at the camera with a smile, that's my favorite part. My love for Dwight went from 5 to infinity. Most relatable television character ever. The nuances of Dwight's character, incredible. Dwight is a true friend. For an Amish-raised farm boy, Dwight sure does love money. If he's such a farmer, surely he'd know the difference between hay and straw. What scares me the most is Dwight is the only true personality on the show, and he himself admits he is the face of death. I kind of think he's onto something. Strongest person in the office and smartest man alive? Dwight responds, both false. Yakuza and triads are two different types of gangs from two different countries. The fact that Dwight doesn't know the difference shows how much he knows and how little he truly understands. Dwight, the most loyal backstabber in all television. Dwight, Michael, and Jim are all the best characters, hands down. Don't think Dwight would be this great without other characters. He probably wouldn't be as entertaining or funny. Dwight's humor comes from the other characters a lot of the time. I think people look at Dwight with rose-tinted glasses. Forget how he treats Pam on occasion when he thinks she's on her period. He's a mean, greedy, and selfish man. This comes across way more than the loving, sweet Dwight that everyone occasionally latches onto. It's a disservice to the character to paint him out as really nice. He offered the office workers jobs as human scarecrows, for goodness sake, LOL. He killed his girlfriend's cat and his neighbor's dog. The conflict resolution episode made me see Jim as a bully, and I felt really bad for Dwight. Most of the pranks were unprovoked, and Jim only did them because he was bored. The worst part was Toby ignoring the complaints, which made Dwight so frustrated that he threatened to leave Dunder Mifflin. This show is so good. Dwight is a fool. Nobody can beat Dwight. He has the power of a man and a baby fused together. Dwight's character made me more confident in myself. Crazy how much impact a fictional show or character can have on your life. Just finished the whole series and sad to see it end. Dwight was my favorite character without a doubt. Dwight and Michael are the greatest duo since Batman and Robin. We all need someone who feels as passionate about us as Dwight does about Michael. Dwight could have easily beaten Thanos. Seeing Dwight win against Jim is a good feeling, and the fact that no one helped Jim says how much everyone realizes Jim always wins. Dwight would make a great Joker. That laugh whilst throwing the last snowball was gold. The fact that he actually becomes owner of the building before manager of the branch is pretty funny. Hold on, aren't Dwight's funniest moments literally every scene he's in? The face he does during the "mine was green" line is just priceless. I love the episode where he caught Oscar with his boyfriend, and he was only concerned about him lying about stealing time for fake being sick. Dwight calling makeup clown paint on Phyllis is always going to get me. Jim, the most worthy opponent of you is you, Dwight responds. That is correct, unless there happens to be measles present. This line finished me. The episode where Dwight starts the fire at the office is the best of all. You can't fit all of Dwight's best moments in a 10-minute video. This 1 second with Dwight with Stan Lee's wig deserves several awards because it's so funny on so many levels. Literally every scene of Dwight is powerful and funny. Another hilarious Dwight scene is when he's trying to escort Jim and Pam to the hospital. So when a police officer pulls him over for impersonating a police officer, and Dwight throws his weapons out the window. I don't think that snowball scene gets enough credit for being hilarious, terrifying, and brilliant. The fire drill, probably the best Dwight scene and best scene in general. Dwight's dream job paying $80,000 a year is one of the funniest things I have ever heard. It's practical. I have just watched The Office this year for the first time. I'm on the 6th season, and I must say, Dwight is the only character who gets funnier with each episode. He's less predictable now than he was in season 1. Haha. What about when Dwight put a watermelon in an apron and went into labor? That Dwight versus Dwight battle was absolutely genius. My favorite would always be the Tiffany's chandelier monologue. Dwight's accident with the vomit and all just finished me. Took me 3 days to get over it. When he thinks Jim is turning into a vampire, he utters to himself, "Nope, one crisis at a time." I don't know, that line always finishes me. This is my first tweet, all caps with a full stop at the end. Good morning to everyone except those who don't eat beets. I do not wish a good morning to you. Bears, beets, Battlestar Galactica, hashtag, end of tweet. We need a new plague. What will happen if King Kong scaled Big Ben instead of the Empire State Building? Want to see a magic trick? Hiding secrets from my computer. Jim doesn't know this, but I am about to get my revenge. We all know that I would win against the world. He would reply false to a lot of tweets. How to steal a chandelier. Bears can climb faster than they can run. Of course I see so. Moz and I see so all the time. The cops called us. I got him. Today, he gets fired. Dwight K. Schrute was an entrepreneur. Unbeatable ideas. He knew how to find the money. My favorite side hustle of Dwight's is when he buys out the season's hottest toys and resells them before Christmas. Dwight buying the building was the best or worst storyline ever that led to so much comic fodder. Dwight's daycare had one of Jim's best comic lines. Let's take the tour, Pam. All of his side hustles just prove that Dwight doesn't need that job at Dunder Mifflin. He just gives everything to that company because he really loves it. I feel like Dwight's gym would become the next niche fitness craze in Los Angeles. Dwight's side businesses are goofy because he's on camera and it's all illegal. The greatest side hustle Dwight has was when he would buy the most popular kids' toys so they were sold out, then reselling them during Christmas time. Pure genius. Dwight's side businesses were always more practical than that of Ryan Bailey Howard. Dwight's daycare had the best simple solution for a restroom and feeding trough for the kids, LOL. Also, how his perfect Valentine's Day is selling the 50 restaurant reservations he made 6 months prior to desperate last-minute couples actually sounds like a great way to make money. Dwight flipping Andy's car is the best. When Danny joins Scranton, and at the end of the day, Dwight acts casually even after they just fought Danny. Dwight says something like, "It's after 5, I'm not going to take this home with me." I have always respected that work-life separation. I know how to build a business. You got to get the black people to do it in order to get the white people to do it. Then you got to get the black people to stop doing it. Jim has pranks, Dwight has schemes. Can a guy just buy some bagels for his friends so they'll owe him a favor which he can use to get someone fired who stole a co-manager position from him anymore? Jeez, when did everyone get so cynical? That is a direct quote from Dwight Schrute. I love how even in his fantasy, he gives himself a realistic salary. He probably deserved that promotion over Jim for co-manager. He has such a strong business acumen and most of his businesses were successful, minus the gym and daycare. Dwight's longest side hustle, assistant to the regional manager while still working as a salesman. There are only so many hours in the day and Dwight Schrute needs about 200. Ryan should get his MBA certificate from Mr. Dwight K. Schrute. For someone who hates identity theft, Dwight sure has a lot of wigs and disguises of his colleagues. Dwight standing up for Pam always gets me. To be honest, out of all the Office characters, Dwight is really the only one who can have his own spin-off show. I'd watch a show with just Michael, Dwight, and Jim hanging out. Dwight is the embodiment of love and pain. Dwight is the type of guy to get COVID first. I didn't like Dwight at first, but in the last season, you could really see him changing into a better person. Love how he loves Jim and Pam. Out of all the funny characters in their funny villages, in their funny worlds, Dwight stands alone. Dwight would make a great Avenger. I love it when Dwight says something and then looks at the camera. She is one of the plain, hardy women of Scranton that make this city great. I know that sounded like both a compliment and an insult, but the fact that Dwight instantly stood up for Pam in his weird ways is one of the reasons why they became such good friends. You only live once? False. You live every day. You only die once. 5 more minutes of Megadisc, please. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. There's too many people on this earth. We need a new plague. Dwight was ahead of his time. I'm all about loyalty, but if there was someone else that values that loyalty more highly, I'm going wherever they value loyalty the most. Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, I would not do that thing. What is my perfect crime? I break into Tiffany's at midnight. Do I go for the vault? No, I go for the chandelier. It's priceless. As I'm taking it down, a woman catches me. She tells me to stop. It's a father's business. She's Tiffany. I say no. We make love all night. In the morning, the cops come and I escape in one of their uniforms. I tell her to meet me in Mexico, but I go to Canada. I don't trust her. Besides, I like the cold. 30 years later, I get a postcard. I have a son and he's the chief of police. This is where the story gets interesting. I tell Tiffany to meet me in Paris by the Trocadero. She's been waiting for me all these years. She's never taken another lover. I don't care. I don't show up. I go to Berlin. That's where I stashed the Stein. Oh my gosh. How would I not get the last sentence? That's where I stashed the chandelier. Dwight K. Schrute. I am fast. To give you a reference point, it's somewhere in between a snake and a mongoose. I guess one day he saw a mongoose fighting a snake and then both of them chased him, one eventually catching up to him and bit him. I wonder which one. You never know when you're going to need to have a passing resemblance to someone. It's better to be hurt by someone you know by accident than by a stranger on purpose. I come from a long line of fighters. My maternal grandfather was the toughest guy I ever knew, World War II veteran, killed 20 men and spent the rest of the war in an Allied prison camp. My father battled blood pressure and obesity all his life. Different kind of fight. Not everything is a lesson. Sometimes you just fail. Will I get over it? No, but life moves on. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Great advice. Hurts my feelings every time. Dwight utterly destroying Jim after being hit by a snowball was to save face. He had never felt humiliated in front of everyone. All previous pranks never really attracted much open laughs or mockery of Dwight by the rest of the office, so Dwight probably let them slide apart from complaining to Toby. This one made everyone laugh and Dwight felt it badly. It's Dwight fought Schrute. Sheldon, I'm not insane. My mother had me tested. Dwight, false. Your mother is not a qualified therapist. I'd really want to see a crossover of Dwight and Ron Swanson. They would have had the manliest friendship in TV history. Those are two of my favorite characters. I wish there would be a show about Dwight's life after a day at work. The Schrutes buried Dwight's grandfather, realized he had been buried while sleeping, then reburied him in an old oil drum. Has anyone else noticed the connection that in season 2, episode 22, Jim says, "It's a nice tux." Dwight Schrute responds with, "I know, it belonged to my grandfather. He was buried in it, so family heirloom." In season 3, episode 4, he says, "I'm sorry, I grew up on a farm. We slaughtered a pig whenever we wanted bacon. My grandfather was reburied in an old oil drum." Finally, in season 9, episode 17, The Farm, Dwight says, "We Schrutes don't need some Harvard doctor to tell us who's alive and who's dead." But there was an unlucky streak of burying some heavy sleepers. And when grave robbers discovered some scratch marks on the inside of some of the coffins, we decided to make sure that our dead were completely dead, out of kindness. Seems to add up that Dwight's grandfather was deemed dead and buried. Then grave robbers found scratch marks in the coffin and ran off, leaving the Schrutes to rebury him in an old oil drum, but not before Dwight took his tux. Legend has it that his brother spends a lot of time hiding in lockers. The office is an hallucination suffered by farmer Dwight Schrute after being overcome by fumes from rotting beets. Dwight Schrute conspiracy theory. Have you ever noticed how Jim always pronounces Dwight's name like Dwight? Could this be intentional? Could it be really a thinly veiled version of Dwight or the White? Could all of the weirdness of his personality and life be continual jokes about the things white people do and say? They even threw in a joke, I think in poor taste, about a Nazi relative in Argentina. What would Dwight Schrute's Sith name be? Assistant to the Supreme Chancellor, wielding his sacred weapon, the beat saber. Darth Belschnickel, Darth Crentist. Don't know about his Sith name, but I can tell you that his Gungan name would be Jar Jar Beats. Schutenfreude, Darth Beatus, Darth Updog, Darth Fart, and he would be a security threat. Darth Recyclops. I really would have loved to see more of Dwight and his sister and brother. They introduced them for one episode and forgot about them. A Schrute Farm spin-off would have been so good. What does the K in Dwight K. Schrute stand for? Wrong answers only. Kelevin, Crentist, Kadanger, killed Angela's cat. Dwight Knight Schrute, Knights of the Night. Karate, Krampus. He is Dwight Knock You Out with Pepper Spray Schrute. Killer Sales Instinct. Fact: Philip Schrute is the first child in 3 generations to not get named Dwight Schrute. Dwight Schrute is the son from Teletubbies. Dwight Schrute has always been the assistant to the regional manager at Dunder Mifflin Scranton. He was a no-nonsense, straight-laced kind of guy who took his job very seriously. But despite his gruff exterior, Dwight had a soft spot for his colleague and friend Jim Halpert. Jim, on the other hand, was a bit of a goofball. He was always quick with a joke or a prank and had a laid-back, easygoing personality that Dwight found irresistibly charming. As the years went by, Dwight couldn't deny his growing feelings for Jim. He admires Jim's wit, his kindness, and his ability to always see the best in people. And despite his reservations about the idea of a romantic relationship with a coworker, Dwight knew that he couldn't fight his feelings any longer. One day, Dwight summoned up the courage to confess his love to Jim. To his surprise, Jim felt the same way. And so amidst the chaos and craziness of the office, Dwight and Jim found love. They worked hard to keep their relationship a secret from their co-workers, but as they grew closer and more comfortable with each other, they eventually let the secret slip. To their delight, everyone in the office was thrilled for them and supported their relationship wholeheartedly. Dwight and Jim's love story wasn't always easy, but it was worth it. They learned to balance the differences and support each other, both in work and in life. And as the years went by, they knew that they were meant to be together forever. If you have gotten to this part of the video, comment the nerd with glasses emoji. Until next time, tra-la-la.